Straight Talk. That's Dayton 24/7 now.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Nick Maruziak. We have 3 quick stories to get your day started.
It's Juneteenth, and today there's a free concert at the Phrase. Head out from 5 to 8 tonight for Lovelock's Experiment. Plus, I mean, they got like food trucks, other vendors. Should be a wonderful celebration.
Yeah, it would be a good time. I mean, you know, 5 to 8 p.m., so it's going to be hot and humid. Just make sure you bring extra water, right?
That's why we keep you around, right?
And plus, you got daiquiris there, so there you go. All right, mark your calendars. 5 Rivers Metro Parks is announcing this small farm and food fest at Carriage Hill on August 3rd. You join the free celebration of eating, farming, and sustainable living. I love this stuff because I always love going to the farms, trying to find something. You could get flowers, food. What else could you want?
Local honey, maybe?
Oh, what am I, poo? Just sitting there.
Oh, bother. Oh, I'm so depressed by the heat. Oh, bother. Yeah. No, you're more of an Eeyore. Oh, geez.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie.
Grater's is releasing a new summer bonus flavor. Nick, you're going to like this one. Or maybe not. I don't know. It's a little too spicy for you. Summer Fiesta.
Okay.
Summer Strawberry Lime Fiesta, that is. So they have strawberry ice cream, chunks of lime, and they have like these salty and spicy lime flakes in there too.
You know what? I don't hate on it. It doesn't sound bad. Plus, it doesn't have like, you know, junk in it, like, you know, chunks of randomness. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, you know what? It probably tastes like a little bit like a margarita. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good. All right, now to our top story this morning. We're following breaking news out of Dayton over the last 30 minutes. We just learned the Huber Heights Dispatch confirming reports of a shooting on Old Troy Pike. That's between Old North Dayton and Huber Heights. Melina Brown is live on the scene right now. Melina, what can you tell us?
Good morning, guys. Just to be safe, I am going to be off camera right now. When we first arrived on the scene, we were much closer, and as we approached, we realized that officers still had their weapons drawn, and this is still very much an active scene. So we decided to take a step back away from that scene, but still show you guys what we're seeing. There is a ton of officers on scene. I just heard them talking over a megaphone. Perhaps there is someone still in this home. The call came in as a shooting, as Nathan mentioned, from Huber Heights Police. We confirmed that. Right now, we are just staying on scene. And as the morning progresses, we'll try to get as much information as possible. I can tell you, as I was driving here, there was also multiple ambulances on scene, and I did see one leaving as I was approaching. So the roads are closed right now. Keep that in mind if you're heading out this morning. This is probably going to be quite a long morning. These roads will probably be blocked for quite some time, as this is still very much an active scene. We're going to work to try and confirm as much information as possible. Just stay tuned throughout the morning as we gather more.
We will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. Well, this weekend is the 50th anniversary of the Dayton Air Show, and the Blue Angels are headlining this weekend show. Alex King was selected for Flight of a Lifetime. She tells us about her experience right after putting 2 feet back on solid ground.
There is going to be a variety of shows going on this weekend at the Centerpoint Energy Dayton Air Show presented by Kroger, and I had the most incredible experience of flying with the Blue Angels today. Overall, I was definitely a little nervous, definitely more excited than anything, definitely a little shaken up, but I didn't get sick and I didn't pass out, and that's the important thing. Overall, such an incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I will remember this for the rest of my life. Back to you guys.
Well, if you have some air show memories, please share them with us. It's easy to send them in. Just take out your phone and scan the QR code you see on your screen right now. They'll take you to the Dayton 24/7 Now app, and once in the app is open, click on Explore, then chime in. We'll share your photos right here on air and online.
Well, it is another day like yesterday. We're starting out in the mid to upper 70s. The humidity is maybe not off the charts, but it's still very high. We are in the low 70s for dew point. Now, if we're going to see a big change here, over the next 3-4 days. It's probably going to be a slightly drier air mass. I don't even want to say drier because you get the sense of we go to desert or maybe something more hospitable. No, it's not necessarily that. It's the dew points go from the 70s into the 60s. That is just enough that in theory we could actually have these temperatures closer to the mid 90s and actually feeling like upper 90s compared to around 100. Whether or not we actually get anywhere near that point, it remains to be seen. But the general theme is for today to be another day like yesterday where it's cloudy, we have temperatures in the 90s, and the humidity makes it feel closer to triple digits. Again, it depends on the exact high, but in general, today's also going to feature at least a chance of a thunderstorm or two. Meanwhile, on the roads, so far, it's relatively quiet. Obviously, the interstates at this hour typically aren't packed, but we do have a couple of vehicles outside, so just keep that in mind. Right now, things are moving smoothly.
Many communities across the Miami Valley are now opening cooling centers to help people get out of the intense heat. So here's a list of places you can go. We've got a full list of cooling centers in the area. Just head to our website, Dayton247now.com. Police are investigating after a crash involving a motorcycle in Vandalia. It happened along Macaulay Drive around 8 yesterday morning. We know multiple victims were taken to the hospital with serious life-threatening injuries. The road between Macaulay and Old Springfield roads were closed for hours as police investigated, but have since reopened. The crash remains under investigation. Fire crews are investigating after a vacant house caught fire on Lynbrook Drive in Dayton. Luckily, no one was inside of the home at that time. You can see the home is a total loss. Most of the walls and roofs are gone. It's unclear how that fire started. It remains under investigation. In Washington Township, police are investigating after a child was hit by an SUV. It happened just after 10 yesterday morning along Miamisburg Centerville Road. Police say the child had been riding a bike at the time of the incident. It is unknown at this time if the child was taken to the hospital or the extent of their injuries, but we do know medics were requested on the scene. As soon as we learn more, we'll update you both on air and online. Today is Juneteenth, a day to celebrate and honor the end of slavery in the United States. The holiday marks the last day remaining enslaved people in Galveston Bay, Texas, were notified in 1865 that they were no longer in bondage. The news came nearly 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act 3 years ago, officially making it a federal holiday. And if you're planning to head out to any of today's Juneteenth events, you can get a free RTA ride. The Greater Dayton RTA is offering rides throughout the whole system to ensure everyone can attend events around the Miami Valley. You can plan your trip to the festivities on iRideRTA.org. When kids are fed, they're fueled to thrive, but for many kids that rely on schools for their meals, summer can be challenging. Dayton 24/7 Now is partnering with Feeding America for Sinclair Care Summer Hunger Relief. Scan this QR code to help provide meals for children and families right here in the Miami Valley. Our time right now is 5:07. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen and your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials. The U.S. now reviewing a bomb shipment to Israel, what they're concerned Israel will do with them coming up.
The White House announces another immigration policy while voters remain fixed on the border crisis. I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, and I'll explain coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
out here.
Only on Dayton 24/7 now.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. is reviewing sending a shipment of 2,000-pound bombs to Israel over concerns about what Israel will do with them.
That remains under review, but everything else is moving as it normally would move. And again, with the perspective of making sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself against this multiplicity of challenges.
This comes after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed Blinken promised to lift restrictions on weapon shipments. Blinken declined to discuss their diplomatic conversations, but says the U.S. is worried Israel will use the bombs on densely populated areas like Rafah, endangering the massive population of civilians that fled there. Netanyahu slams the holdup.
Israel, America's closest ally, fighting for its life, fighting against Iran and our other common enemies. Secretary Blinken assured me that the administration is working day and night to remove these bottlenecks. I certainly hope that's the case. It should be the case.
U.S. officials have expressed concern about Israel's invasion of Rafah, a city in southern Gaza where Israel ordered all Palestinian civilians to flee to. That's more than 1 million people in an area that's the same size as the city of Newark, New Jersey. The Pentagon says the U.S.-built pier in Gaza is expected to be back up and running sometime this week. Authorities said Friday the pier had to be removed from Gaza's coast due to rough seas. Meanwhile, the Pentagon spokesperson Pat Ryder says America will continue to conduct airdrops in Gaza.
This is a multifaceted effort to get aid into Gaza, whether it be via land, air, or sea. We're going to continue to do what we need to do to make that happen.
Ryder reiterates that the U.S.-built pier is only a temporary measure. The amount of humanitarian aid entering Gaza has dropped nearly 70% since Israel launched a military offensive in Rafah in early May. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights warns the number of civilian deaths in armed conflict surged to 72% last year. Volker Turk presenting the update to Human Rights Council in Geneva yesterday.
Conflicts have only intensified. Killings and injuries of civilians have become a daily occurrence. Destruction of vital infrastructure a daily occurrence. Devastating and reckless. Children shot at. Hospitals bombed. Heavy artillery launched on entire communities.
Now, Turk notes that the data indicates the portion of women killed in 2023 doubled and that of children tripled compared to the year prior. He highlighted multiple conflicts, including the wars in Gaza, Ukraine, and Sudan.
Well, good morning. Right for now, it is fairly quiet when it comes to weather. Yet again, we are going to have clouds and the off chance of a stray shower or thunderstorm. This as we get into the afternoon and evening. Yesterday, the clouds did a really good job of suppressing any type of real heavy-duty weather across the area. It was a lot more busy on Monday, and I'm thinking that today could be similar. Now, I'm not ruling out a stray shower, thunderstorm. Northern part of our area may have a slightly better chance, and it is worth pointing out that any type of thunderstorm development could become quite strong with gusty winds, your primary threat, but that's just because of the environment itself rather than any type of dynamics. It's simply so hot and humid, there's just built-in instability. Tomorrow could be 1 or 2 thunderstorms as well, although I'd argue based on the humidity and sunshine, we may actually have just a slightly lower chance overall. So for today, it's low, maybe mid-90s. Yesterday, we hit 92. Aiming for 92, 93 today. I think anywhere in that ballpark will feel like the upper 90s, maybe even triple digits. Now, speaking of, tomorrow will be a bit warmer, but again, because there's just a slightly less humid air mass, I think it's a wash, and we'll continue with that pattern all the way through the first part of the air show. So the air show itself may be 97, but the dew points may be low 60s by that point, and what that means is, again, it's going to feel quite hot, but it's not going to feel much hotter than it is right now. Sunday itself, I think we should be able to get the air show in, but there will likely be a chance of rain later in the day. On the roads this morning, so far so quiet on the interstates and state roads.
The president has announced a new immigration policy designed to protect immigrants married to U.S. citizens. As national correspondent Matt Galka tells us, it's another immigration move for the White House as border concerns continue to weigh on the minds of voters.
A new policy from the White House could protect around 500,000 undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation and provide a path to a green card.
And it doesn't apply to anyone trying to come here today. This action is a better way. It doesn't tear families apart while requiring every undocumented spouse to fulfill their obligations under the law.
The policy allows for spouses to apply for a parole-in-place program. They would have had to have been in the U.S. for 10 years. It would also help with work permits. Typically, if a person crossed into the country illegally and got married, they'd have to return to their home country for 10 years before applying for a green card. The move was panned by Republicans as an election year stunt.
We're hearing the doublespeak again. Out of one side of his mouth, he's saying, look at me, I'm doing an executive order. We're going to control the border. And then on the other hand now, he's offering basically mass amnesty.
It's President Biden's second major immigration policy in the past 2 weeks. He announced a halt to asylum seekers at the border when it becomes overwhelmed earlier this month. It's already facing a legal challenge. The policies also come when the heat is on the administration for a border crisis.
The blame starts at the top, and the blame starts with the Biden administration. But he's sitting in that chair, and under his presidency, the border has been much less secure.
The sheriff of Harford County, Maryland, blamed Biden's border policies following the arrest of an illegal immigrant for the murder of Maryland mother Rachel Morin. And a June poll from CBS YouGov found support for Donald Trump's proposed policy of a national deportation program for illegal immigrants. 62% of people supported overall, with 53% of Hispanics in favor. The program announced by the White House on Tuesday likely won't take effect until the end of the summer. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's campaign called it an invitation for illegal immigration. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
Our time right now is 5:19, still to come.
What you drizzle on your plate may be the healthiest brain food yet. On Liz Bonus, we're talking how to reduce the risk for early Alzheimer's just ahead.
You're watching Your Day.
Take
cash on select CX-50s at Jeff Schmidt Mazda in Beaver Creek.
It is time for Pet of the Day, and today we're actually pulling out 2 dogs for you. So, you know, usually we do 2 for Tuesday, 2 for Thursday, but I got a special one for you tomorrow. Gizmo and Kip are joining us. Teresa Jackson sent in her 2 pets here, and I love these 2. I mean, just absolutely cute dogs, and 10 out of 10 would pet. As for today, you know, if you're trying to get your dog outside, it's a little more difficult. Obviously, it's been very hot and humid, but then you start talking about the threat of a couple of thunderstorms. My dog in particular is not a fan of that. Anytime she goes out, it seems like 30 seconds in, she's already kind of about staying outside. I think it's because of the heat and humidity, but also just the look and the feel of the atmosphere must make her think that it's about to start raining. Now today, the best chance of any type of rain showers, 2 to 6 p.m. But from 10 a.m. through noontime, we should have temperatures rising rapidly from the mid-80s into the upper 80s. So keep in mind today, it is going to get toasty early on, and it's going to remain quite hot and humid all throughout the daytime. On the roads this morning, no types and concerns on 74, 35, 675 at 75. Just a reminder, we do have the road construction, Kiowee Street. Also, throughout the Moraine area, as well as up towards Wagner Ford Road, they are using a contraflow lanes. And as always, if you're going to take the contraflow lanes, please make sure that you are giving yourself plenty of space. The last thing we want is a stoppage there where it backs things up for hours.
Ozempic is fueling the hunt for smaller clothes. The Wall Street Journal reports clothing sellers are finding that millions of slimmed-down Americans want to buy new clothes. The newly svelte aren't just restocking their wardrobes, many are also gravitating to more body-hugging shapes and risque designs, according to industry executives and shoppers. The downsizing is happening across all brands and types of garments. Well, the FDA-approved Merck's vaccine is designed to protect adults from bacteria that can cause pneumonia and serious infections. An advisory panel to the CDC will meet on June 27th to discuss who should be eligible for the shot, which is called Capvaxive. And the majority of the country is feeling the heat as extreme temps sweep the country. Several groups ranging from health and environmental filed a petition to urge FEMA to recognize extreme heat as a major disaster. That way FEMA would unlock disaster relief funds that can go to temporary cooling centers and air filtration systems. In response to the petition, FEMA said it needs to further study it. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King. Here's your health.
A new study shows a drizzle of olive oil a day is enough to boost your brain health. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains how.
Hey there, hello to you. This new study backs up that certain nutrients really do make a difference when it comes to our brain health.
One of those nutrients appears to be the kind of fat often used in the Mediterranean style of eating. As this video provided by the Alzheimer's Association shows, researchers found it may play a role in reducing the tangles or other brain problems that lead to memory loss and dementia.
Our brain needs certain fats.
Dana Ritchie sat down with us along with Judy Schuler and her husband Jerry, who's living with early Alzheimer's.
I was scared that I didn't know why I couldn't bring everything together. So it was, so since they've diagnosed me, I've actually been happy. It's been great the last, what, year? Yeah, 6 years. Since I knew what I had.
Jerry and Judy say they eat lots of fresh foods to promote brain health, and as this study found, they may want to top some of those foods with olive oil. We asked Fari Osdell of Ohio's Cafe Mediterranean why he uses it.
We are, present the Mediterranean cuisine, so it's that olive oil is absolutely make huge difference, give the flavor of the dishes.
Researchers analyzed more than 90,000 diets and health outcomes as part of this study on olive oil for nearly 3 decades. They found those who got just half a tablespoon of olive oil had a 28% lower risk for dementia-related death compared to those who do not eat olive oil. Add a few spices to it.
Most is the fresh dill, parsley, mint, oregano, and rosemary, paprika, and then crushed bell peppers.
And you may get other brain benefits from these nutrients, too.
The Alzheimer's Association, of course, would like to answer your questions if you have them with your health news. I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Our time right now is 5:27. Governor DeWine announcing a new hospital coming to Dayton. How it's going to make a big difference in our community. You're watching Your Day. In today. Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Nick Maruziak.
Here's 3 quick stories to get your day started. The Columbus Zoo has a new way to get around. Scooter Pals. These fur wheels can hold up to 2 adult riders. Oh my gosh, look at these. And are available to rent for as little or long as you want. These are like, they have these kind of things at like the mall, but like for smaller kids.
You know, Nathan, I need to see you on this. Like, I need to see you on the kids' version of this.
I want to get one and ride around downtown Dayton for fun. I want like a llama.
You know what the worst part is? That's not the worst vehicle we've ever seen on the roads in Dayton.
That's true. There was that jet ski one time turned into a vehicle.
Yeah, I'm about to say this is tame by comparison. A firefighter in Alabama is going viral after he cut a hole in a plastic firefighter hat so a little boy's hair would fit. Okay, that absolutely rules. I always love where you do get these, you know, community events to get these kids, you know, fire hat. But just to be like, you know what, kid, I got you.
I got you. You're covered.
Look at that.
That's great. Look at that.
Perfect.
It's going. There you go. Rock and roll, man.
Awesome.
He looks sweet in that hat.
Yeah, man. Good job on a firefighter and a kid.
It's
Love
like,
it.
hey, this works.
Yep.
And the cast of Modern Family is reunited and returned to the Dunphy house for a new WhatsApp commercial. In the commercial, Phil, Claire, and Cam accidentally revealed to Mitchell that they started a family group chat without him. That's when an eavesdropping painter suggests they use WhatsApp private messaging.
Yeah. Well, you know, it reminds me a lot of when Parks and Rec came back for that COVID episode. Seems like they just do this every once in a while. Like, all right, let's get the crew back together. Commercial for something.
Yeah, commercial. They're like, well, let's back up that Brinks truck and get all these celebrities back together.
I know, but
in essence.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
We are tracking breaking news at this hour out of Dayton, and over the last 30 minutes, Huber Heights Dispatch confirming reports of a shooting on Old Troy Pike. Now that's between Old North Dayton and Huber Heights. Melena Brown is live on the scene right now. Melena, what can you tell us?
Guys, right now we are standing back a little bit as officers still have their weapons drawn on the house where the shooting occurred. Now, when we first pulled up, we did get a little bit closer, but they did ask us to move just for our safety and to allow them to do their own job. Right now, this road is blocked off about half a mile in each direction. Officers have the road blocked off, so if you're heading out this morning, keep that in mind. If you do have to go down Old Troy Pike, that you're going to have to find an alternate route. This is still very much an active scene. Officers still have their weapons drawn and are asking and talking over a megaphone to someone inside this home. We're going to stay here throughout the morning and try to get as many answers as possible, but obviously right now we have to allow the officers to do their job. We do know that Huber Heights PD did confirm a shooting, and when I arrived on scene, I did see one ambulance leaving, headed towards downtown. So right now, that's about all the information we have, but of course, we're working to learn more, and as soon as we have an update, we'll bring you that here on air and online.
We will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. Well, this morning, the Miami Valley is still under a heat advisory. You're taking a live look at downtown Dayton right now. Nick, it was so miserable in my house. Our air conditioner was struggling to keep up. I hunkered down in the basement and played video games with my boys.
That sounds about right. You know, it was, how do you beat the heat? You know, some of us jumped in a pool. Some of us jumped in a neighbor's pool. You got down into the basement. You know, there was a lot of things you could have done. The one thing you really didn't want to do is be outside during the worst of it because it was very hot and humid.
Yeah, it continues to be brutal, too.
Yeah, exactly. Almost today, almost a direct repeat of yesterday. So here's what we're calling for. I'm calling it partly cloudy, but I'll put emphasis more towards the mostly cloudy than, let's say, mostly sunny end of the spectrum. The reason why is because we do expect there to be a high level cloud. If you were out and about, I think it was about 2 p.m. yesterday, there was almost a direct overcast over, I would say, 2/3 of the area. Eventually, we did see the sun poking through the clouds. There's still the risk of a couple thunderstorms, mainly up to the north, but either way, I think today is going to be very, very much so a repeat of yesterday. As for the air quality, this is something we've also been tracking a little bit more closely. It's in a moderate category, which still isn't ideal, but at least it's not in an unhealthy category. We will be tracking this because as temperatures continue to remain well above average and the humidity, a lot of the particles are ending up near the surface. On the roads this morning, so far, so quiet, no tie-ups, no concerns at this hour.
The Dayton Air Show is just days away, and this year's 50th anniversary will take a look back at history. We'll look forward to inspire future generations. Jenny Bork was at the Dayton Airport and shares what she learned.
I learned the air show started in 1974 when Chamber of Commerce members were trying to think of ways to grow the aviation business in the field. 50 years later, it's taken on a life of its own.
It started with some very forward-thinking individuals who wanted to celebrate flight.
The home of aviation, Dayton, became the home of the air show in 1974. The pages of the 1975 souvenir program turn back time, with each flip of the page showing an era not always thought about today. From the entertainment to the planes that were featured and flown during the show, it's clear the Dayton Air Show has evolved over time. Take a look here at the difference in the maps where all of the action takes place. The one on the top is this year's map of the event space, and the one on the bottom was the event space the show had in 1975, which was only the second year of the show. There also used to be a trade show that went with the event that no longer exists, but this Friday there will be a STEM day that will teach kids about career opportunities in aviation. If you would like tickets to the Dayton Air Show, you can visit our website, Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Governor Mike DeWine looking to allocate $10 million in state capital budget toward bringing an all-new state-of-the-art mental health care hospital to Dayton. It'd be the 7th in the state. He spoke on what it would mean for the community.
It's going to mean people will not have as far to go. Their families will not have as far to go. But it's also going to relieve a lot of the stress that we have on the entire system. This will give us 7. This will create an additional 220-some beds. And it's also going to be very different than what you might see in the movies or what you might see on TV about how mental hospitals are in fact portrayed.
The governor went on to say these facilities are state-of-the-art. A final location hasn't been decided on. This money would be the first phases, which would include buying the land and the design. Governor DeWine expects the House to pass the budget and have it on his desk by late next week. 42 local foster care children now have suitcases thanks to a local church. Omega Baptist Church donates these suitcases filled with personal hygiene and care products every year. Most foster children don't have luggage to put their belongings in, and when they're taken to homes, so they often use grocery or even garbage bags. The pastor at Omega Baptist Church tells us this drive is one they know makes a big difference, and he shared this story with us. Take a look.
One cool thing is that one of my wife's former co-workers actually serves as a foster mother for several children. And when she learned of the connection that my wife had with Omega Baptist Church, she got so excited because she said, one of my kids had one of those suitcases when they came. And she said he was just so excited and he held on to it for dear life. And it's those kind of stories that make it all worth it.
Reverend Ward added the whole community and congregation gets excited when this drive begins, going out and purchasing the suitcases and hygiene products for the kids. The latest Sheetz in the greater Dayton area is now open. The second Sheetz location in Huber Heights held a grand opening event on Brant Pike. The store welcomed customers with free self-serve coffee and soda, plus a chance to win free sheets for a year. The convenience and gas station chain is open 24/7, 365 days a year. Representatives say the Dayton area is a great place to expand the brand.
Dayton's a great town, a great city. It's a great place to be. A lot of people, there's not a lot of things like Sheetz here. There are some competitors that are similar to us, but we have a different model. It's just been a really great place to grow and a welcoming community, and we love working with the Dayton area towns.
In honor of the grand opening today, Sheetz donated $2,500 each to the Food Bank and Special Olympics of Ohio. This marks the 7th location in the Dayton area. Updates to some national stories now. Former President Trump's gag order in his criminal hush money case will remain in place. New York's Court of Appeals has declined to hear an appeal on the gag order from Trump and his legal team. Now, the court found that the gag order against Trump did not raise substantial constitutional issues. Trump's gag order prevents him from commenting on the witnesses, jurors, and others involved in his trial. Trump was convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records last month, becoming the first former U.S. president to be found guilty of felony crimes. The shooter in the 2022 Club Q mass shooting has now been sentenced in federal court to life in prison without parole, plus 190 years. Anderson Lee Aldrich pleaded guilty to 74 federal hate crime and gun charges. They opened fire in an LGBTQIA+ nightclub in Colorado Springs, killing 5 people and hurting 19 others. Aldrich is already serving 5 consecutive life terms, plus more than 2,000 parole years without parole after pleading guilty to state charges last year. Prosecutors reportedly not pursuing the death penalty in exchange for a guilty plea. Our time right now is 5:39. Don't forget to get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen and your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials. Major allegations coming out of Boeing's Senate hearing yesterday. How families of victims killed in plane crashes are reacting to the CEO's testimony.
Lawmakers are trying to put a stop to a vulgar use of AI that sexually exploits teenagers. I'm Atrell Nashar on Capitol Hill with a look at their plan coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
Sponsored by
on Dayton 24/7 now.
South Texas and northeastern Mexico are under a tropical storm warning. It's the first tropical threat of the year for the region. Now, the National Hurricane Center says the cyclone is not quite a tropical storm yet, but it is expected to become one over the next 24 hours or so. It's bringing torrential rainfall and flooding with it. The system had 40-mile-per-hour winds as of yesterday. Now, here's a look at some of the heavy flooding in Honduras right now as the tropical storm forms. This is just southeast of the Gulf of Mexico. You can see is just an absolute mess down there, Nick. And yeah, this is probably going to be a pretty familiar scene this year.
Yeah, exactly. This is expected to be an above average tropical storm season. In fact, one of the most active since maybe '04. Obviously, we do have activity already, which is not a good sign because the peak is actually more towards July, September, October, and November.
Yeah, kind of similar to what we've seen with tornado season, but we actually have some data over here about some of this tropical cyclones.
So one thing that I'll point out is it's pretty close to land right now, which is in a way good news because this is not going to have a lot of time to strengthen. As we warm into the summer, this whole area is going to turn into 90-degree water, which means that these storms are going to have a lot to feed off of and not a lot of interference, if you will, from the atmosphere itself.
How do they name these storms?
So on a 5-year rotating basis, they have the names of the storms, and you can see Alberta would be the name if it does become a tropical storm. And it's worth pointing out that if, let's say, Joyce ends up being retired, they have names in reserve. They'll swap that out, and this list will become the list for 2030.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on this situation happening right now in Mexico. The CEO of Boeing.
I would like to apologize on behalf of all of our Boeing associates spread throughout the world, past and present, for your losses.
Boeing has not improved its safety. Even since 5 years ago, even 6 and 7 years ago, they knew about a lot of problems with manufacturing and they didn't improve it.
I want them to be held accountable for murdering 346 lives.
Now, at the beginning there, you heard from the CEO of Boeing apologizing to families of people who died in Boeing 737 MAX crashes at yesterday's Senate hearings. But those families, as you also heard from, say he's at fault for their loved one's death. Now, yesterday, Calhoun admitted the company has retaliated against whistleblowers. Employees claim harassment, pressure, and termination. Lawmakers say they want accountability and change.
This hearing is a moment of reckoning.
This committee, everybody in this room, I would say everybody in America wants Boeing and the airline industry to succeed. It's just crucial that they do so.
Boeing's alleged safety lapses are under investigation by multiple federal agencies, including the DOJ, FAA, and NTSB. Calhoun says Boeing is committed to improving its safety culture. Congress is now trying to put a stop to non-consensual sexually explicit images, often made with artificial intelligence. That's an issue that's affected both public figures and high school students. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar joins us now on lawmakers' attempt to get this under control.
More and more deepfakes, AI images or videos misrepresenting someone, are being used to exploit, shame, and blackmail teenagers.
My name is Elliston.
Like Elliston Berry, who was just 14 last fall when she learned nude photos portraying her and her friends were on social media.
I always will have a fear of this happening again or resurfacing just because it's so easily happened to anybody, which is what happened to me.
A boy at her school took innocent photos from their social media pages and ran them through an app to create deepfake pornography. It took Snapchat more than 8 months to take the images down.
Although the images are off Snapchat, that doesn't mean that people might not have them on their phone.
Barry and her mom were on Capitol Hill on Tuesday as a bipartisan group of senators unveiled a bill called the Take It Down Act that would require social media platforms and websites to create a system for removing this kind of content within 48 hours of receiving a victim's complaint.
The technology right now is far too easy for people to use.
Between 2019 and 2023, the number of deepfake videos online skyrocketed by 550%, according to the online safety group Home Security Heroes. And 98% of deepfake videos online are pornographic. The Tech Industry Coalition Chamber of Progress says they're encouraged to see Congress tackling the issue, but that tools for flagging this content already exist, adding more funding for law enforcement to prosecute predators is an important part of the solution, and the Take It Down Act doesn't fix that. With AI involved, it could get more complicated. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise recently said House Republicans are not interested in new AI regulations. Are you worried that that might get in the way of progress on this?
You know, I'm not. I think that's a very different thing when it comes to regulating AI generally. And I think we are going to see widespread bipartisan agreement. This bill that we introduced today, I've got 12 co-sponsors, 6 Democrats, 6 Republicans.
Until something changes, the issue is adding anxiety to an already difficult time to be a teenager. On Capitol Hill, I'm Autral Nashar reporting.
Our time right now
over
is
here trying to push
5:48.
my head
You're
open.
watching Your Day.
Shop now during
by Thrush & Son, complete home improvement.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
While businesses aren't seeing as many effects from the pandemic nowadays, GOP lawmakers are pushing to get more COVID-era relief to out the door. 2 Republican senators are asking the IRS to process more relief payments from the program, saying a lack of funds is delaying recovery for small businesses. The credit was meant to help smaller businesses and nonprofits stay afloat. Businesses can still file claims despite the program ending in 2021. The program saw a lot of misuse and fraud, leading a bipartisan attempt to Senate to cut off early claims. Our time right now is 5:51. You're watching Your Day.
our exclusive
Accident lawyers at Elk & Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
All right, it is time to do some weather here. Of course, we are talking about a day where, right for now, well, we're waking up to gray skies. Sorry, I was attempting to get a graphic there together for the air show because I know this is a big event for a lot of us across the area, and I'm looking forward to actually being out there myself tomorrow. But unfortunately, it's going to be hot and humid, so I'm going to have to figure out our station's policy on shorts. Yeah, if I have to wear pants, it's going to be a long day. As for today, if you're going to be outside and about, you know the routine by now. It's going to be cloudy with the potential for a couple of thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening. Very, very similar to yesterday. Tomorrow, the only slight difference is a little bit more sun. Just a touch less humidity overall. This is not going to be a huge difference, but it'll be somewhat noticeable. I think the other thing is going to be temperatures may be a few degrees warmer. The offset between temperatures and humidity, though, means that it's going to feel about the same like it is today. And we'll ditto that for Friday as well, as we get even less humidity. But it's never going to be quite dry. It just goes from super duper humidity to, well, still humid outside as temperatures continue to stay mid to upper 90s with the feels like temperatures just around the triple digit mark. That goes same for Saturday. So again, if you're going to be out and about Saturday for the air show, it's going to be quite toasty. We will have temperatures in the low 90s on Sunday. Then for next week, it looks to remain in the upper 80s, which I guess is relief in a way. As for this morning, if you're traveling right now, interstate's looking good. We do have Old Troy Point by Beatrice, of course, that police activity from the shooting that happened earlier this morning. So if that's part of your morning commute, just be aware that that area has a ton of police around it.
June is Pride Month, and Thailand is now the first Southeast Asian country to legalize same-sex marriage. The Kingdom's Senate overwhelmingly approved a marriage equality bill yesterday. The bill now heads to the King for his formal endorsement. Thailand is only the third place in all of Asia to allow marriage equality, following Taiwan and Nepal a few years back. Singer Justin Timberlake has been charged with driving while intoxicated. Timberlake was arrested on New York's Long Island yesterday morning. A police officer says he had slowed speech and unsteady on foot and performed poorly on field sobriety tests. He was also cited for running a stop sign and failing to stay in his lane. He's now been arraigned and released from custody. The multiple Grammy Award winner has an upcoming shows scheduled in Chicago this week and Madison Square Garden next week. There's no word yet if his arrest will affect those show dates. Well, it's the 30th anniversary of the 90s sitcom Friends, and Krispy Kreme is honoring the iconic show in a special way with a brand new line of Friends-themed donuts. This is interesting. Aren't they cute? Krispy Kreme says they take inspiration from famous episodes and moments from the show. The sweet treats will be available for a limited time only, but only in the United Kingdom. So far, there's no word from Krispy Kreme on whether the company will release the Friends-inspired donuts in the States. Is there like a show-inspired donut that you would love to have, Nick?
I would like the Parks and Recs one because, you know why? Ron would just be like, I want a plain donut. And I'm spiritually here with that. Like just a regular
like
Krispy
plain,
Kreme.
when you say plain, like the ones that come
a glazed donut.
Okay, yeah, I'm down for a glazed donut.
Not like a cake donut. I know
I was
what you're
thinking like the cake donut that comes in the multiple pack.
Yeah, no.
You get at the grocery store.
No, I want the original glazed donut from Krispy Kreme. Please and thank you. And by I'll have one, I'll have three.
I like the glazed twist from my favorite Jim's Donuts up in Vandalia.
Yeah, you know what though? Like the local donut scene here is amazing. I am surprised that I have not put on 10 pounds based on Bill's Donuts. You have Jim's Donuts. What are the other ones around town?
Hole-in-One Donuts. Yep. You have Stan the Donut Man. You got all the classics around here. And Nick, I put on my 10 pounds when I was like, you know, 4th grade. So
it's also baby weight, you know, when you had the kids.
There you go. You're watching Your Day. We'll see you later.
Now a check.
room or call us today.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Alex King. Here's 3 quick stories to get your day started. It's Juneteenth, and today there's a free concert at the Frays. You can head on out from 5 to 8 tonight to see the Love Locks experiment.
You'll love to see it, and it's a great opportunity to see a show at the Frays, say if you have never been out there.
Yeah.
And it looks like you have an opportunity to win a membership to the YMCA
That's
as
really
well.
cool, and a lot of vendors there that you can check out, so that's great.
Food trucks.
Who doesn't love a good food truck?
I do. Mark your calendars. Five Rivers Metro Parks is announcing the Small Farm and Food Fest at Carriage Hill on August 3rd. Join them for a free celebration of eating, farming, and sustainable living.
This is so cute.
I just actually had the boys out at Carriage Hill Farm this last weekend. We did a little fishing out there. We saw the hogs. Those hogs are bigger than us combined.
Are they?
They're insane.
Wow.
And it's just a great farm to get out and enjoy.
This is such a cute event idea. I love that.
I do too. It's a little small towny farm.
Yes. Raiders is releasing a new summer bonus flavor. Go try Strawberry Lime Fiesta. Interesting. A blend of strawberries, lime ice cream with salty, spicy lime flakes.
I thought this would be right up your alley, Alex.
I don't know about this one.
The lime chunks might be a little odd. It probably is just like a spicy margarita.
I don't know how I feel about the lime ice cream.
It's a spicy margarita. Think about it that way. Maybe?
I don't know. I mean, I'd try it.
Do you need some jalapenos on there?
Maybe.
Jalapenos?
Yep.
That's my favorite mispronounced word. Anyways, now to our top story this morning. We are following breaking news out of Dayton right now. In just the last 30 minutes, Huber Heights dispatch confirming reports of a shooting on Old Troy Pike. That's between Old North Dayton and Huber Heights. Melena Brown joins us live on the scene. Melena, what can you tell us right now?
Guys, we've been out here now for a little over an hour, and it's still an active scene. You can see behind me, there's still police cars here on scene. Now, we haven't been able to speak with any of the officers because when we first pulled up, this was still an active scene. It's still an active scene now. They had their weapons drawn. They were focused on one home. There was a ton more officers here. There was ambulances leaving the scene. There was some fire trucks on scene. Right now, the roads are still closed. So if you're having to go through this area on Old Troy Pike through this morning, I would try to find an alternate route because right now, about half a mile in each direction, the road is shut down. We're going to try and work to find as much information as possible this morning. We did already confirm that the call came in to Huber Heights Dispatch about a shooting, but right now we're not sure of how many people were involved or if there were any injuries and what the extent of they may be right now. But right now we do know that there's Dayton officers on scene as well as Riverside PD is here as well. And as we gain more information here on air and online.
Melena, thanks. We will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. Well, this weekend is the 50th anniversary of the CenterPoint Energy Dayton Air Show presented by Kroger. The U.S. Navy Blue Angels are headlining the show, and Alex King was selected to take flight this afternoon. She tells us about her experience right after putting 2 feet back on solid ground.
There is going to be a wide variety of entertainment this weekend at the CenterPoint Energy Dayton Air Show, and I have the incredible opportunity to ride with the U.S. Navy Blue Angels. I am feeling so much. I'm feeling so nervous, but mostly excited. So the really cool thing is you guys get to come along with me. Let's go. The day started with a lot of anticipation, but the crew made sure we were prepared for the ride of a lifetime. I learned about the Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet, proper breathing techniques, and bracing for G-force.
Every day is full of learning. I don't care how long you've been doing it. We're lifelong learners here. That's really important to learn from your mistakes and learn from the mistakes of others. But at the end of the day, you know, we're prepared for what we do.
This is Lieutenant Connor O'Donnell's first year with the Blue Angels. He has accumulated over 1,200 flight hours and more than 200 carrier-arrested landings.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of being part of the Blue Angels so far?
So far for me, it's the team. It's such an honor to serve. We have 160 members total, 17 officers and 143 enlisted personnel. And we are all over the place all year long. It takes a lot of commitment to stick with this schedule, but luckily we have some of the greatest people in the Navy.
With my family on the sidelines cheering me on, it's time to take to the skies and fly high above the clouds. I was strapped and secured into the jet, and then we blasted off fast.
We'll start off slow with just some basic aerobatics to get you comfortable, and then slowly work up the level of difficulty. And that's the final maneuver, so it'll be 0.95 times the speed of sound, which is just under the speed limit in these parts. And then we'll pull 7.5 Gs for about 10 seconds.
Lieutenant O'Donnell's favorite move is the sneak to vertical roll, which almost made me pass out. My personal favorite was the aileron rolls, which didn't require as much force. After several thrilling moves, we then landed safe and sound. That was such an incredible flight. I mean, truly such an exhilarating experience. Oh, I'm so grateful that I got to experience this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And hopefully you guys can get out this weekend and check it out. Alex King, Dayton 24/7 now.
I just made a request for Nathan that every commercial break we now play Hans Zimmer, Top Gun's theme. If you catch the reference, you'll understand. As for today, temperatures low to mid 70s. Definitely feels like a beach or a pool day. We have dew points running into the low 70s. So this is about as humid as it was yesterday. Like yesterday, I think the clouds may keep temperatures down in the low 90s. But what it will also do is just keep things feeling rather muggy outside. That's going to be the case all day today. Lunchtime temperatures upper 80s and low 90s. If you're going out to the square as well, or excuse me, Courthouse Square in Curio. Well, this is going to be another day where you want to make sure that you are drinking plenty of fluids, and I don't mean the, alcoholic variety. I mean the variety that it comes with water, because frankly, you are going to need to keep hydrated today. We do have a risk of a couple of thunderstorms. We'll talk about that in just a bit. On the roads this morning, right now we do have a pulled over vehicle on 70 and 75. Nothing crazy there. Now by Old Troy Pike and Beatrice, that's in the area where Milena is. There's still that police activity. So if you are traveling in around that area, be aware that there may be some roads and some areas that are blocked off by that police presence. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on the roads throughout the morning.
Many communities across the Miami Valley are now opening cooling centers to help people get out of the intense heat. So here's a list of places you can go. We have a full list of those cooling centers in the area. Just go to our website, Dayton247now.com. Police are investigating after a crash involving a motorcycle in Vandalia. It happened along Macaulay Drive around 8 yesterday morning. We know multiple victims were taken to the hospital with serious life-threatening injuries. The road between Macaulay and Old Springfield roads were closed for hours as police investigated, but have since reopened. The crash remains under investigation.
Fire crews are investigating after a vacant house caught fire on Lynbrook Drive in Dayton. Luckily, no one was inside of the home at the time. You can see the home's a total loss. Most of the walls and roof are gone. It's unclear how the fire started. It remains under investigation at this hour.
Washington Township police are investigating after a child was hit by an SUV. It happened just after 10 yesterday morning along Miamisburg Centerville Road. Police say the child had been riding a bike at the time of the incident. It's unknown at this time if that child was taken to the hospital or the extent of their injuries, but we do know medics were requested on scene. As we learn more, we will update you both on air and online. Today is Juneteenth, the day to celebrate and honor the end of slavery in the United States. The holiday marks the last day remaining enslaved people in Galveston Bay, Texas, were notified in 1865 that they were no longer in bondage. The news came nearly 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act 3 years ago, officially making it a federal holiday.
And if you're planning on heading out to any of today's Juneteenth events, you can get a free RTA ride. The Greater Dayton RTA is offering free rides throughout the whole system to ensure everyone can attend events around the Miami Valley. You can plan your trip to the festivities on iRideRTA.org.
When kids are fed, they're fueled to thrive. But for many kids that rely on schools for their meals, summer can be challenging. Dayton 24/7 now is partnering with Feeding America for Sinclair Care's Summer Hunger Relief. Scan this QR code to help provide meals for children and families here in the Miami Valley.
Our time right now is 6:10. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
You're watching Your Day.
Here's what I know.
Tonight at 7 and 7:30 on ABC 22.
Show Us Something Good is sponsored by Gordon Food Services.
Well, it's time for Show Us Something Good. And, you know, we always love focusing on pets here. Of course, Pet of the Day, our big segment. But every once in a while, we get a message from a viewer and says, hey, I've got a pet's birthday or something good. And then there's this. This is Terry. Terry has sent us multiple pictures of her pets, and we featured a few of them. And one of them includes Hadley. Now, Hadley is a 3-year-old, I believe, Australian Shepherd mix. And she and her rest of the family, including, I believe, an aunt, a mother, perhaps a sister, if you will, in the King Charles there. They were celebrating Hadley's 3rd birthday. Now, before you go, okay, what's so special? Well, Hadley is a service dog and does do events around, I believe, the Eaton area. So, Terry and Hadley, I wish Hadley a happy birthday. And as always, I thank you for your service, whether it's to veterans or just putting cheers on faces. That certainly qualifies as showing us something good. And you can show us something good on our website. Now, what you want to do is go to the Chime In section there. You'll go to the tab that says Show Us Something Good. Plug in a couple details. Tell us all about it, whether it's your pet, whether it's your kids out and about, whether it's you out and about outside enjoying summertime. We want to see what's something good with you.
Show Us Something Good was sponsored by Gordon Food Services.
Our time right now is 6:14. You're watching Your Day.
Take Dayton.
Days at 10 a.m. on ABC 22.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. is reviewing sending a shipment of 2,000-pound bombs to Israel over concerns about what Israel will do with them.
That remains under review, but everything else is moving as it normally would move. And again, with the perspective of making sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself against this multiplicity of challenges.
This comes after Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed Blinken promised to lift restrictions on weapon shipments. Blinken declined to discuss their diplomatic conversations, but says the U.S. is worried Israel will use the bombs on densely populated areas like Rafah, endangering the massive population of civilians that fled there. Netanyahu slams the holdup.
Israel, America's closest ally, fighting for its life, fighting against Iran and our other common enemies. Secretary Blinken assured me that the administration is working day and night to remove these bottlenecks. I certainly hope that's the case. It should be the case.
U.S. officials have expressed concern about Israel's invasion of Rafah, a city in southern Gaza where Israel ordered all Palestinian civilians to flee to. That's more than 1 million people in an area the same size as the city of Newark, New Jersey.
All right, well, it is time to take a look at weather. Where this morning, waking up to cloudy skies yet again. Did have some showers of thunderstorms off to the northwest. Nothing too crazy. We are going to continue to see the threat of maybe an isolated thunderstorm later on today. Pool forecast still looks okay. I mean, temperatures will be around 90 degrees, and it's not like we're going to be talking about temperatures that are ridiculously hot and humid, but it is worth pointing out that they are going to be quite hot and also humid for this time of year, meaning temperatures around 100. Once we get around to 105 feels like temperature, that is where it's ridiculous, and that's actually where we do start talking about excessive heat watches and warnings. So that's the difference between, let's say today, where it's heat advisory versus the next level where we really need to start taking precautions about being outside. 72 for overnight. Tomorrow will be a bit warmer. Now, at the same point, I do expect just a slightly more or less humid air mass over the top of us. So that should be something that keeps temperatures relatively in the same ballpark. We'll continue to have temperatures mid to upper 90s. Sunday, we will have low 90s as we continue with the threat for a couple of thunderstorms second half day. Monday and Tuesday, temperatures remain in the upper 80s. This is going to be a time period where it's all above average, but at least we're not dealing with, again, record, or should I say record heat and humidity across the board. On the roads this morning, so far, it's been relatively quiet. 70, 75 looking okay. Austin Boulevard as well as Dayton Xenia Road also in good order.
Our time right now is 6:20. You're watching Your Day.
The exclusive
Disability lawyers at Elk and Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
Time for Bet of the Day on Your Day, where we celebrate your pets. Cloudy skies with temperatures in a low to mid 90s today. We will be looking at probably a period or two where we could see showers and thunderstorms across the area. If I'm targeting one particular time period, it would be anytime during the afternoon. Again, this is going to be a period where it's not that I'm predicting a ton of rain, but if we do get any type of shower or thunderstorm, you will get a heavy burst of rain possible, as well as maybe some gusty winds. If there is going to be one area that would see it, it'd be further to the north. Now, as for today's pets, let's get to the two here. Gizmo, Kipper, both the gorgeous looking dogs, sent in by Teresa. Thank you to Teresa and all those who chimed in your pets over the last few days, weeks, months, years. We continue to love to see them, and we would love to see yours, so go ahead and send those in. If you're going to be on the roads this morning, Well, obviously, the 202 Old Troy Pike area between Community and Beatrice is now closed down due to the police investigation, police activity in that area. But other than that in particular, there is no other tie-ups or concerns around the area. So again, 202 is closed in and around that area from the shooting earlier this morning.
If you've ever subscribed to an Adobe product such as Photoshop or any of its software, you may notice it's not that easy to cancel the service. The FTC is alleging Adobe of violating consumer protection laws over this and is suing the company. In response to the lawsuit, Adobe says it's transparent with its terms and conditions for subscriptions and will refute the claims in court. Meantime, Apple is shutting down its Apple Pay Later program. The program lets customers buy things on an installment plan. Later this year, it will phase in a new program, giving users access to installment loans through credit and debit cards, as well as lenders when they check out with Apple Pay. This is all according to Bloomberg, which says the new service will be rolling out in the iOS 18 update. While more of us are using AI in the workplace, we're not all fully comfortable using it. A new survey by the digital adoption platform called WalkMe reveals a whopping 91% of Americans fail to effectively use AI at work on the first try. For most respondents, it took 4 or 5 tries before they felt they were able to perform their work easier or better using artificial intelligence. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King with your Tech Report.
Here's a look at today's poll question. How many times do you say chugga chugga before saying choo choo? I mean, I think the answer is right there, but get your answers in. Coming up at 6:50, we'll share our answers and take a look at what some of you had to say. You can find it on our Facebook page.
The hard-hitting questions this morning.
Absolutely.
Our time right now is 6:26. Governor DeWine announcing a new hospital coming to Dayton. How will make a big difference in our community.
But first, here's Genevieve Porter with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
We're a family of athletes, and we all experience tightness and soreness in our muscles, and we're always looking for easy, safe solutions. And I love Pain Gone because it's so easy to apply. Look at that. You just peel it off. I'm going to put it on my forearm where I get tightness. Also, I get a lot of tightness in my shoulders, and it fits so comfortably and provides such relief. I also like that it has 3 different settings. There's soft pulses, strong pulses, or a combination of both. And there's also 12 intensity levels, so you find what works for you. And if you want to wear it under your clothing, sometimes I do, it's great because it's not big, it's not bulky, easy to conceal. And this is great for anyone who has aches and pains and sits at their desk all day. It's wireless, and it gives you relief with just the touch of a button. You get relief in just 15 minutes, and there's no limit to how often you can use it. These gel pads will last 2 to 3 months, and that's a great value. Now, normally you may have to take over-the-counter medicine, and you would have to wait hours to take another dose. This is the natural pain-free option that you need, and right now we're offering 30% off on Pain Gone. This is an amazing product. It's gonna sell out fast. Head to asadeals.com right now for this very, very exclusive offer.
or call us today.
Good morning, I'm Nathan Edwards.
And I'm Alex King. Here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. The Columbus Zoo has a new way to get around scooter pals. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. These four-wheelers can hold up to 2 adult riders and are available to rent for as little or long as you want.
Okay, so where can I get one of these for real?
Wait, these are so cute. Those are like the little things you see in the mall.
Yeah, could you imagine riding those around the neighborhood, being like, woo!
I want the little alligator. Look at him.
I want a
so
trash
cute.
panda, Alex.
I want a red panda. I wonder if they have red pandas.
Trash pandas are better than red pandas.
We can talk about this more later.
And a firefighter in Alabama is going viral after he cut a hole in a plastic firefighter hat so a little boy's hair would fit. Take a look at this. This is so great.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I always find
that's
that
so sweet.
Firefighters are so cool. I love it. They always come out to community events. They always want to make it just fun for the kids. And you know, this just makes their day, the kids' day. And
It fit perfectly. Stop.
Yeah, as I say,
That's
teamwork
so
makes the dream work. That's neat.
Precious. And the cast of Modern Family has reunited and returned to the Dunphy house for a new WhatsApp commercial. Oh, in the commercial, Phil, Claire, and Cam accidentally revealed to Mitchell that they started a family group chat without him. That's when an eavesdropping painter suggests they use WhatsApp private messaging.
You liked the show, didn't you?
I love this show.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I never really watched it. I've seen like clips on TikTok and stuff, but that's about the extent of it. But you love to see.
You need to watch it. You would love.
I probably would.
You and Phil Dunphy, 2 peas in a pod.
Be besties for the resties?
Yes.
I love that.
Absolutely.
We're following breaking news out of Dayton at this hour. In just the last hour, Huber Heights Dispatch confirming reports of a shooting on Old Troy Pike.
That's between Old North Dayton and Huber Heights. Melena Brown is live on scene now. Melena, what can you tell us?
Now, since we've been out here for the last hour or so, things have calmed down just a little bit. I'm about here. There are some officers still right outside this house, but right now there are no more weapons drawn, whereas earlier when we were on scene, they were surrounding the house. They were using a megaphone to try to speak with someone inside. We also know that the fire department has a drone out right now circling the home as well. I believe both sides of the road are still blocked off about a ½ mile in each direction. So if you are headed out this morning, it's about the time people are waking up, maybe heading out to get ready to go to the gym or to work. Just make sure if your usual route is down Old Troy Pike that you find an alternate route because it is shut down right now. Earlier when I first arrived, there were ambulances on scene that have now left. But again, we haven't been able to speak with an officer because they are still very much focused on this investigation, it being an active scene. So as soon as we're able to speak with someone and get an update, we'll be sure to bring you that on air and online. But for right now, we are having to stay back and kind of just observe what is going on. Back to you guys.
We will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long, even during commercials. To get the breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download our Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. Governor Mike DeWine looking to allocate $10 million in state capital budget toward bringing a new state-of-the-art mental health care hospital to Dayton. It'd be the 7th in the state. He spoke on what it would mean for the community.
It's going to mean people will not have as far to go. Their families will not have as far to go. But it's also going to relieve a lot of the stress that we have on the entire system. This will give us 7. This will create an additional 220-some beds. And it's also going to be very different than what you might see in the movies or what you might see on TV about how mental hospitals are in fact portrayed.
The governor went on to say these facilities are state-of-the-art. The final location hasn't been decided on. This money would be the first phase, which would include buying the land and design. Governor DeWine expects the House to pass the budget and have it on its desk by late next week.
42 local foster children now have new suitcases thanks to a local church. Omega Baptist Church donates these suitcases filled with personal hygiene and care products every year. Most foster children don't have luggage to put their belongings in when they are taken to homes, so they often use grocery or even garbage bags. The pastor at Omega Baptist Church tells us this drive is one they know makes a big difference, and he shared this story with us. Take a listen.
One cool thing is that one of my wife's former co-workers actually serves as a foster mother for several children. And when she learned of the connection that my wife had with Omega Baptist Church, she got so excited because she said, one of my kids had one of those suitcases when they came. And she said he was just so excited and he held on to it for dear life. And it's those kind of stories that make it all worth it.
Reverend Ward added the whole community and congregation gets excited when this drive begins, going out and purchasing the suitcases and hygiene products for the kids.
The latest Sheetz in the greater Dayton area is now open. The second Sheetz location, Huber Heights, held a grand opening event on Brant Pike. The store welcomed customers with a free self-serve coffee and soda, plus a chance to win free sheets for a year. The convenience and gas station chain is open 24/7, 365 days a year. Representatives say the Dayton area is a great place to expand the brand.
Dayton's a great town, a great city. It's a great place to be. A lot of people, there's not a lot of things like Sheetz here. There are some competitors that are similar to us, but we have a different model. It's just been a really great place to grow and a welcoming community, and we love working with the Dayton area towns.
In honor of the grand opening today, Sheetz donated $2,500 each to the Food Bank and Special Olympics of Ohio. This marks the 7th location in the Dayton area.
Our time right now is 6:36. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Major allegations coming out of Boeing's Senate hearing yesterday. How families of victims killed in plane crashes are reacting to the CEO's testimony.
You're watching Your Day.
First on scene of destruction never seen before. The personal stories from those who risked their lives during the Memorial Day tornadoes in 2019.
It really was a miracle.
Through their eyes, the unsung heroes. Scan the QR code to watch on YouTube now.
It's time to
Queen is just $2.98, only at the Better Sleep Shop.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A state of emergency in New Mexico as 2 out-of-control deadly wildfires burn around Ruidoso, prompting mandatory evacuations. At least 500 structures had been affected when the emergency order was issued. This burned building is among the damage left behind so far. Here's one aerial view, a mix of blue skies in the distance obscured with a blanket of billowing smoke tinged orange by the sun.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Updates to some national stories now. Former President Trump's gag order in his criminal New York hush money case will remain in place. New York's Court of Appeals has declined to hear an appeal on the gag order from Trump and his legal team. The court found that the gag order against Trump did not raise substantial constitutional issues. Trump's gag order prevents him from commenting on the witnesses, jurors, and others involved in his trial. Trump was convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records last month, becoming the first former U.S. president to be found guilty of felony crimes.
The shooter in the 2022 Club Q mass shooting has now been sentenced in federal court to life in prison without parole, plus 190 years. Anderson Lee Aldrich pleaded guilty to 74 federal hate crime and gun charges. They opened fire at an LGBTQIA+ nightclub in Colorado Springs, killing 5 people and hurting 19 others. Aldrich is already serving 5 consecutive life terms, plus more than 2,000 years without parole after pleading guilty to state charges last year. Prosecutors are reportedly not pursuing the death penalty in exchange for a guilty plea.
The CEO of Boeing apologizing to families of people who died in Boeing 737 MAX crashes at yesterday's Senate hearing. But those families say he's at fault for their loved ones' deaths.
I would like to apologize on behalf of all of our Boeing associates spread throughout the world, past and present, for your losses.
Boeing has not improved its safety. Even since 5 years ago, even 6 and 7 years ago, they knew about a lot of problems with manufacturing and they didn't improve it.
I want them to be held accountable for murdering 346 lives.
The company is facing growing scrutiny since those 2 crashes in 2018 and 2019 that killed 346 people. Whistleblowers have come forward with concerns that Boeing rushes manufacturing and makes mistakes or forces parts into place that could lead to serious breakdowns mid-air. And yesterday, Calhoun admitted the company has retaliated against whistleblowers. Employees claim harassment, pressure, and termination. Lawmakers say they want accountability and change.
This hearing is a moment of reckoning.
This committee, everybody in this room, I would say everybody in America wants Boeing and the airline industry to succeed. It's just crucial that they do so.
Boeing's alleged safety lapses are under investigation by multiple federal agencies, including the DOJ, FAA, and NTSB. Calhoun says Boeing is committed to improving its safety culture.
Donald Trump says he wants to end taxes on tips if he wins back the White House in November, and the idea is getting a mixed reaction.
So for restaurant workers, for hotel workers, for caddies, for car people, it's a lot. But anybody receiving tips, there's no more tax on tips, and I think that's going to be a great thing.
A recent report by the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget says exempting tax revenue from tips could cost as much as $250 billion in tax revenue over 10 years, or a lot more. That could prompt employers to reclassify income as tips, potentially leading to a lower base pay for workers. Some Republicans like the idea and think it's good politics. Others believe it could blow an even larger hole in an ever-increasing national debt. Democrats say it's wiser to focus raising minimum wage salaries.
Our time right now is 6:44. Here's a look at today's poll question. How many times do you say chugga chugga before saying choo choo? Get your answers into our Facebook page. Social producer Max joins us with a look at what some of you had to say next.
You're watching Your Day.
Sponsored by the
movies, we have the meat.
Oh, boy. You know what? The discussions behind the scenes here sometimes are enlightening. I mean, it is fantastic to be working at a station where, the crew behind the scenes really is great. As for today, the weather, not so great. More or less of the same that we saw yesterday. A lot of cloudy skies. Could be a couple of pop-up style thunderstorms. I'm not calling for rain per se, but if we are going to see, the best chance would be across the northern half of our area. And in this environment, any type of rain may be accompanied by gusty winds. There is somewhat of a risk of strong to severe storms across the northern part of our area. It's been highlighted under the marginal risk. Look, in this environment, it could be just about anywhere that we do pick up a thunderstorm or two that does pulse stronger, but it would be brief, and gusty winds would pretty much be it for threat. We'll ditto that for tomorrow, although there's overall less humidity in the air. I still expect enough that, in theory, we could get some activity. And realistically, that's the theme of this week, is we do expect the lower and lower humidity, but it never quite becomes dry. Instead, it just goes from ridiculously humid to, well, humid. As we get into tonight, temperatures could slip as low as the low 70s, maybe even 1 or 2 upper 60s. Tomorrow will be in the mid 90s. Rest of the forecast, upper 90s. Could actually approach records Friday and Saturday. Both, ironically, are 98. Friday, I think, was sent in 1994, and Saturday in 1988. So not the longest term records, but still nonetheless longer term records. Sunday, chances of rain. Monday and Tuesday, upper 80s. And I hate to be this person, I just realized 1988 was 36 years ago. That is a longer term record. I'm thinking I'm 25. I was born in 89. Anyway, important matter is, on the roads this morning, things are moving okay thus far. Just a little bit of congestion downtown. Of course, we do have that police activity on 202, so be careful in and around that area.
All aboard! The crazy train is here, and we have a great question this morning, Max.
How many times do you say chugga, 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 chugga before you say choo choo?
Listen, okay, honestly, it really depends. I think I like to let my spirit lead the way. Sometimes I'm feeling like 2, like chugga, chugga, choo choo. But if I'm getting real riled up and I'm like, yes, here we go. Sometimes you need 10. You go chugga, 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 choo choo.
Okay.
Whatever your little heart desires.
Fair.
Alex?
2 is plenty. That's all we need.
Why would you say
all
that?
we need.
Wait. So
Just give me a chugga chugga and move on.
Oh, Alex is a killjoy at everything. Like, Alex is like, no, we're not having any of this.
No, she just knows that we're obnoxious.
Yes.
And this poll question is going to be very long for her this morning. Anyways.
So I'd go 5 because.
Why 5?
I like to get
a weird number.
I like to get a little bit of momentum for my train coming out of the station before it hits the whistle.
Could we have an example?
So it's chugga, 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 choo choo.
How often are you doing this, Nick?
Way more than I'd like to admit.
Max?
I actually understand people saying 8 more than I understand people saying 5.
I do. Personally, 6. I like the classic kind of chugga, 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 choo choo. It just feels right.
In a world of touched poll questions, this one might top the list.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll be back with more a little bit later. Our time right now is 6:52, and you're watching Your Day.
Code Red.
Financing for 36 months. Only at Watson's.